everyone. You can see that I have my friend and makeup artist, NIKKI LaRose here.
Hi.
Today we're obviously talking about makeup, but what we're really addressing is how to get smooth makeup application, that foundation application. I didn't realize this was a big issue until I started talking about it on Instagram. And then I realized that a lot of people get that, you know, like their foundation accentuates that dry flakiness on their skin and they don't know what to do about it. So I thought with NIKKI here, we could go a little in depth about how we solve that.
Yep.
Before we get started, this video is in partnership with Clarins. We're gonna be talking about this Clarins Extra-Firming Energy Cream. This is really great stuff. Proper moisture is a big part of smooth makeup application, so we're gonna tell you all about it. All right, so we are ready for my skin prep before my makeup. And like I said, this is the most important aspect of getting that smooth foundation application. You know, the other thing is I think people don't realize that there's a difference between hydration and moisture, which I have talked about.
Yes.
I have an entire video about the difference between hydration and moisture, but the easiest way to sum it up is that hydration is that water, you're adding water to your skin, and then moisture is locking it in.
Yeah.
So that's probably the easiest way to say it.
And if you remember that, it's like, you can't go wrong.
Yeah.
So hydration, seal it, and then put your foundation on, you're good to go.
So what's gonna be our water steps, our hydration?
So our first step in the hydration process is going to be the Clarins Hydrating Toning Lotion. So normally you can just like pour this in the palm of your hand and press it into your skin. For me, when I'm doing my clients or you, I always put on like a cotton round or a cotton square, and then I just press it into the skin. So that's what I'm gonna do now.
I think a lot of people don't realize that you need to hydrate your skin with something like this so that your next skincare products also work better.
Absolutely, I mean, it's so crucial. Like once you start doing this step, you'll see such a huge difference in the way your makeup lays on your skin, the way your moisturizer lays on top of your skin, because it's actually not gonna lay on top of your skin. Your moisturizer is actually going to absorb.
And when people complain about moisturizer just kind of sitting and making their foundation feel really slick, it's partially because they're skipping the hydration step.
Yeah. If they just did this step, oh my gosh, you would see like the biggest difference because it's allowing your moisturizer or your serum, hopefully you're doing both, depending on like your skin type. If you're dry, you should definitely do both, but it's allowing it to really penetrate into your skin and absorb. Okay, so moving on, we're gonna lock in that beautiful hydration we just applied with the Clarins Extra-Firming Energy Cream. This is great because it's such a lightweight formula. It's really nice and silky on the skin. So it's gonna lay beautifully underneath the makeup, which is the whole point, right? And so the reason why I'm warming this product up, I think it's really important that you take the time to warm up your creams, especially like a thicker cream. If you take the time to warm it up in the palm of your hand, it gives it like the right, like smooth, silky texture. So now that I've warmed it up, I'm gonna start to press it into Susan's skin.
I love this part.
I know, it's the best. It's like a little spa day.
I think that's actually another point is that you're not just like wiping it on, you are actually pressing it onto the skin. Actually, all the products you've pressed onto the skin.
Yeah.
This also just smells amazing and it feels amazing. So one of my favorite things when NIKKI's doing my makeup is that she gives like this lymphatic drainage to depuff my face too. And it's really easy. Like I think everyone thinks about like jade rollers and stuff, but you can just do it with your fingers.
Absolutely.
This is my favorite part. Just quick depuffing.
Little mini spa day before the makeup. So nice.
Am I glowing? When you look at the description of this product, it says it has a Glow Plus complex. So you're getting that word glow. They're telling you right away, this is gonna give you that glowy, radiant finish to your skin. So it has those brightening ingredients like vitamin C and other antioxidants from plant extracts, and that's what makes it really nice. I also think though that the type of moisturizer and the texture and how heavy it feels really matters under makeup, right? Even though it's a cream, it feels like it's light, and when you put it onto your skin, it feels more silky when it dries down, right?
Absolutely, yeah. I mean, it's a super rich cream, but on the skin, it feels so silky and so lightweight. So I love that, especially for under makeup. I also love the ingredients too. Give this moisturizer that natural like color correcting hue to it.
Yeah, it says that it's like a brightening hue to your skin. Are there things that people should avoid when it comes to a moisturizer underneath their makeup?
I think when you're choosing a cream for underneath your makeup too, it's important to like really feel the texture and really get to know it before you use it underneath your makeup.
Right, you don't want to like do a cold, like go cold turkey and like assume that this moisturizer is gonna look good.
Like play with them, get to know that texture, rub on your hands, do like a little play date with it. This one, I just think feels so nice underneath makeup. It lays so well on the skin. And like you said, it gives you that beautiful glow.
I always talk about this too. For skincare prep, if it's daytime, like morning skincare prep, then you can obviously still use an eye cream, a separate eye cream, or you can do what NIKKI says and just kind of bring your cream up. And I think that's the purpose of like choosing the right cream underneath makeup is you wanna make sure that no matter what you're putting on, it does sit well underneath your foundation.
Absolutely.
If it's daytime, you can finish with your sunscreen before you go into your foundation. You just really wanna consider how that sunscreen is also going to lay underneath your makeup.
Absolutely, yeah.
And that's like always a big one. I like this one because it has more of that light fluid texture to it. So it's not going to, you know, add too much moisture and hydration to your skin, because that makes it just all slippy and slidey, right?
Yeah, there's a fine line. You don't wanna go overboard because then your foundation on top isn't going to actually stick. And for our makeup routines, we always gravitate towards like a nice, rich moisturizer like this one as our primer. We don't really rely on primers because we rely on our skincare to be our primer, if that makes sense.
Yeah.
I think that's more like our situation is we like to rely on a nice, thick, beautiful moisturizer as our primer for our foundation. Plump skin is ultimately what you want. You want hydrated, beautiful, glowy, plump skin. That to me is the best primer.
And it's also what makes you look like you are more youthful. Your skin looks like it is more youthful.
Like that glow from within, that is so beautiful. It's so youthful and it looks so beautiful under makeup.
But obviously if it's nighttime and you're getting ready for like a dinner date or something like that, you do not have to put your sunscreen on and you don't have to worry about that step. You just wanna make sure you prep your skin perfectly.
Yep.
All right, so then moving on to the foundation, because after your skincare prep, choosing the right foundation is also as important because that really makes a difference.
Absolutely. I mean, depending on like what look you're going for and what skin type you have, you wanna look for certain keywords with your foundation formula. So glowy is gonna be great for like more of a dry skin, and more matte, long wear, 24-hour wear is gonna be great for more oily skin types. And if you're looking for something that's more smoothing, things that have like keywords like blurring and HD, those are gonna be your best friend.
And you know, sometimes these foundation have like a combination. I've noticed that the more like glowy, radiant finish foundations lately, they're actually getting better about making them long wear. So they're not just like going onto your skin and then wiping off immediately.
And then sliding right off your skin.
It's one of the things I look for actually in the foundations that I personally love is that they do stay, but they just make your skin look more natural.
So let's show a couple swatches of different formulas and foundation finishes that we were mentioning earlier, just so people have a reference of what we're talking about. So the first one's gonna be a little more glowy. It's actually gonna be one of our favorite kind of formulas. It's just a glowy, hydrated kind of look.
It just kind of is like your skin, but elevated.
So this one's gonna be more of a medium coverage that you can build up, but you can see right away this one has just that beautiful glowy, almost like a hydrated skin-like finish. And also you can see that the coverage is not super high because you can see my skin just a little bit peeking underneath the foundation, but it gives you that beautiful glowy hydrated look. So that's one example. So the next one's gonna be a super long wear foundation. This one is a 24-hour foundation, or claiming to be. What this means is it's gonna dry down more matte. It's going to be more like a self-setting foundation. You won't need as much powder to set it down. It's gonna be more matte, obviously, and you can see the coverage is definitely a lot fuller than the first one we applied.
Oh yeah, you're right. So this one, because the key here is that it's long wear.
Long wear, it claims to be 24-hour, which you know you wouldn't want to wear foundation for that long anyway.
No, we're washing our faces, but it's just telling you that this is gonna last.
Yes, it gets the point across that it's going to last, right?
Yeah.
It is gonna have more of a smoothing effect to it. And obviously a lot more coverage, right?
And that smoothing effect, I feel like, you know, it's hard to say without testing the foundation how much is too much of that smoothing effect, right?
Absolutely, there's a fine line. So the last one is going to be a full coverage matte foundation. And you can see it definitely has more coverage than the last two, and it is going to dry down to a much more matte finish. So this formula I would definitely recommend if you're on the oilier side or if you want like that smoothing effect, because matte foundations do typically have a more smoothing effect to them. Whether they claim to be smoothing or not, naturally, the more matte or long wear formula you choose, it's going to look more smooth and blurring on your skin.
And the thing to point out with the matte foundations, there's nothing wrong with them. They can be very beautiful, but this is where your skin prep really matters, because if it's more matte and it's drying down to be dry so that you don't have to powder it down too much, that means if you have dry, flaky skin underneath, this is really going to accentuate that dry, flaky skin.
Absolutely.
Wow, you can really see a difference.
Huge difference.
As they're drying down. So just so you guys know, these are all my shades that she's putting onto her hands.
So glowy, a little bit more sheer, more of a medium coverage, 24-hour wear, more of a soft matte formula, and then a ultra matte formula, full coverage. So you can really see the difference.
I just can't stress it enough. Your skin prep, and also just having a good skincare routine on a regular basis, just throughout the week, is so important to how your makeup looks. Your makeup shouldn't be doing all the heavy lifting. Your makeup always looks better if your skin looks good. All right, so we ready to put on my makeup?
we're prepped, we're glowy, we're hydrated and moisturized. We're so ready to go.
You all know I love a glow to my skin, so we're gonna go with more of like a glowy, less coverage, actually, like more of a light coverage foundation, because I feel like, again, my skincare prep, my skincare on a regular basis really does get my skin to a place where I don't rely on the foundation as much.
Yeah, we love to start with like a sheer, more light coverage and then just build it if we need it. So I'm gonna start at the center of Susan's face and just bring that foundation out. And the center of our face tends to be where we need the most coverage anyway. So by starting that spot and then working your way out, it's just gonna help you to get more of like a flawless application. So another great reason to start with hydrated, moisturized skin is when you're applying a foundation, especially if you're applying a matte one or a full coverage one that's a long wear formula, those tend to grab your skin right away and they stick.
They deposit that color right there.
Right, and it's a little bit harder to, unless you're super hydrated, it's a little bit hard to move that foundation around. So by starting with super hydrated, moisturized skin, you're able to manipulate that foundation for a lot longer time too.
How about like the powder? I think people ask about that a lot too. You know, like, are you gonna powder down then? Is that gonna accentuate the dry flakiness?
Not if you have hydrated, moisturized skin. That's why it's so important. I mean, I hate to be a broken record, but it is just so crucial to start with a hydrated, moisturized base. Because that way when you do put powder on, it's not gonna look powdery, which is, you know, a negative thing, right?
Yeah.
You don't wanna look powdery. But that powder will set your foundation so it lasts a lot longer, especially if you're using more of like a glowy foundation formula. Those tend to not have the longest wear time. So if you do set it down and your skin is hydrated underneath, it's still gonna look beautiful, it's still gonna look skin-like, and it's not gonna look heavy. So don't think that powder is your enemy, basically. If your skin is prepped properly, it's not the enemy.
It's great, yeah, it's great and necessary.
I love powder. Can't live without it. And powder will just add to that smooth blurring effect as well. All right, so we are just finishing up our foundation, and you can see her skin is nice and smooth. It's got that beautiful glow from within, which we love. That's our favorite look. And then we'll finish the rest off camera and then show you the finished look. So Susan's makeup is totally on and perfected. I'm just gonna go in and finish up a little bit more with some loose powder. And that's actually another great tip that I think, again, people tend to forget about, is finishing their makeup with powder, like a setting powder. Powders can look so gorgeous, and like we talked about earlier, as long as your skin is hydrated and it's moisturized underneath and you have that right foundation formula as well, finishing your makeup with powder just really seals the deal and just gives it like that extra bit of like flawless finish. And with powder, if you are on the dry side, less is more. Just keep that in mind. A touch of powder will go a long way if you have drier skin. If you're more on the oily side, then powder is gonna be your best friend. So you can definitely like do a layer or two and not be so light-handed, but just keep those things in mind when you are using powder. If you want it to look smooth and not heavy, just be very light-handed. So I've just worked a little bit of loose powder into this small buffing brush. So I'm just gonna press a little bit of that loose powder into her skin, and I'm just pressing it in. I'm not like buffing it into the skin. I'm just pressing it in the areas that I want a little bit of mattifying and smoothing. Since this powder is actually a smoothing powder, it's gonna add to that beautiful smooth effect. And then that's it, you are done.
Foundation application and just smooth makeup in general.
And how does your makeup feel too with all that hydration and the moisture underneath? So much better, right?
Yeah, I mean, it doesn't feel like I have a ton of makeup on my face.
Yeah.
So those were our tips for skin prep and really for adding that hydration and proper moisture to your makeup routine. It starts with your skin. It really does. It always starts with your skin.
Yep, absolutely.
A big thank you to Clarins for partnering with us on this video. A big thank you to NIKKI. Where can they find you?
I'm at Makeup by NIKKI LaRose on Instagram and YouTube.
Yeah, and I'm also on Instagram at Susan Yara. We'll talk to you soon.
Bye.